Let's talk to, I've lost it now. Let's talk to my old mate, Harold the H. Peacock, who is the Ipswich historian.
Yes.
He's also on Fridays. You'll hear this story again Friday.
Exactly, because we replay it on the Brekkie Show because it's that good.
It is. He's had an archaeological search for the lost 19th century home site of Queensland's first trained fireman, Steve Welch. It's so interesting. It's being a fireman. I hope he didn't burn the joint down. But let's talk to Harold the H. Peacock. Come in there, Harold.
Yes, good morning, Danny. I'm on the trail of this archaeological mystery. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, tell us. Let's take it away, man.
Yeah, well, look, Steve Welsh, he was the fireman on Queensland's very first passenger train from Ipswich into Grantchester, which was Biggs Campback in 1865.
Yeah.
And he was a driver in Queensland's very first fatal train accident in 1876.
Wow.
He was also the owner of the horse that won the 1887 Queensland Derby, and that horse was also the early leader in the 1888 Melbourne Cup, which was the year that it first became the richest race in the world.
Wow.
So I wanted to find exactly where this significant person in Queensland history lived and what artefacts he left behind.
Wow.
Now, it was through a local historical society that I was told where Steve Welsh's farm was. Now, I can tell you that it's at an undisclosed location west of Ipswich. That's all I can say at the moment.
Is there anything there? Is any structure?
Well, just hold your horses there, because this farm is where he kept his racehorses, and the family lived for over 30 years until the home was removed and the location lost in the midst of time.
Right.
So I went to the farm and introduced myself to the current owner. He knew the Welsh family from the original title deeds. But when I asked him where the house might have been, he pointed out to 120 acres of ploughed fields before him, and he said it's that his father said it was out there somewhere. But he added that over the years, the plough had turned up pieces of porcelain. Now, that got me interested, Danny, because if I could find some of that porcelain, it might lead me to the rubbish dump of the old Welsh house and then to the house site itself. So I took on the task of walking all those acres, walking up and down the field looking for, I was looking for anything. And what I found were pieces of 19th century porcelain and glass on the surface.
You are kidding.
Now, the finds were all centred in one particular area. So I continued to search the research online, and I was looking at the earliest available aerial photographs of the area, which were from 1933. And what do you know? The trail of artefacts that I found pointed exactly to what appeared in the photographs to be a pale anomaly on the ground. That had to be where the house site was. And so I went back to the field, this time with my MindLab metal detector, to hopefully find personal relics of Queensland's first trained fireman. Now, first we found heaps more porcelain glass. There were pieces of 1880s whiskey bottles. There was a glass stopper from one of those old sauce bottles. There was also a glass marble from inside one of those old cob lemonade bottles.
Yes.
We even found a small blue bead from one of those doilies that were commonly used to cover milk jugs back in the day. They were used to weigh it down.
Still got some of them.
Exactly right. Now, with the metal detector, what I came across was a fantastic sniggle, and so I began digging. I dug a hole that was as deep as a full length of my arm as I was reaching down, so I was almost falling in. And as I got deeper, the soil became sandy, which was odd for that area. And at the very bottom was what felt like a large flat piece of tin or a lid. And tapping on it, it sounded like there was a void underneath it, like it was a box or something.
Yes.
Now, it took a lot more digging, and what it turned out to be was a 10-gallon oil tin that had been cut in half and filled with sandy soil and used as a flower pot. That typically would have been at the front gate or front steps of a house. Now, Danny, that meant I was in the right place. Then, as the light was fading and it was almost dark, the metal detector just went off and found another great signal. This time it was close to the surface. I turned the soil over and out popped a piece of real treasure. Now, it was a coin. On one side was Queen Victoria, which means it was English. And it was a young Queen Victoria, which means it was old. On the other side was Britannia and the year. and the year was 1879.
Wow.
Now, Danny, that's exactly the right period and the right location I was looking for. I'm confidently saying I've found the location of Steve Welsh's lost home. Now, this is an historic location, and I'll be going back there with the team to find out what else has been lost there for the last 150 years, and I'll let you know exclusively on West Brimmer Radio.
You're on fire, aren't you?
Oh, look, it's pretty exciting when you get on a trail like this and the pieces fall together. It's treasure hunt, and who doesn't love buried treasure?
Well, just don't find someone that shouldn't be buried there. That's a problem. Now, have you ever done that?
This is what
You
I'm
ever found a whole body?
I've never found a human body. I've found the remains of a house cat
and a dog,
and the old puss tag underneath her chin, but never a human, fortunately.
Oh, it could have been an old back in the 80s just to bury him out the back. Now, listen, where can we find this story? Because we're going to continue with this story.
Absolutely. I'll be posting this and the pictures on historyouthere.com.
Historyouthere.com. Coming up soon is Colin Dorber, our job advocate from Employee and Executive Protection. He's going to talk about support people versus union roles in investigation. Mate, you are so interesting. I love hearing your story. So does Damien. So do the masses. And in fact, most of Ipswich are listening to this program this morning, and we want to thank them and support historyouthere.com. Thanks a lot, Harold the H. Peacock on West Bremer Radio at 8:19.